Hello friends, so welcome to this lecture on application security groups in Azure. So before digging into the further, we'll understand what are the challenge with the NSG. See, when we create the application security group within the Azure, application or ASGs help us to manage the security of your virtual machines by by grouping them according to the application which runs on them. And generally, this is a feature that allows the application centric use of your network security group. So, really, in order to understand how this application security group work, we need to understand that okay, what is the challenge with the NSG? In order to understand, think from a perspective that okay, we have a subnet where we have a couple of web servers and the DB servers. Now, to allow that traffic or to communicate, if we have to create the NSG, how will we be doing? So let's say if the traffic we need to allow, let's say HTTPS traffic for the web servers, then we have to allow source any and then we provide the IP address of those particular web servers. And if we allow the web servers to communicate to the DB, we'll allow this particular port and then the source would be your web servers and then these are your database server IPs. So this is how you will generally allow the traffic within the network security group. But there is a challenge with this. What is the challenge? See, now let's say if there is a change in the IP address of this particular web server from 10.3.0 to 10.3.0.1 to 10, or there is a change for this IP address web server as well. So in that case, if there is a change in this particular resource IP, you need to update all the rules. And within the dynamic environment, it is very difficult task to update all the rules concerning to that particular resource. And now at the same time, if there is a address change, adding or removing, then all the relative rules must also change. So that is particularly the difficulty with the NSG, because if you remember in the NSG we discussed that okay, within the source and destination you can mention the IP address, CIDR, and as well as the application security group. So really we are trying to study or understand the application security group in case of NSG, how we can do that. So how we'll solve this challenge basically? So we'll solve this challenging by grouping them according to the application that runs on them. So if you'll see this particular diagram, we have three web servers, so we have grouped them. And similarly, we have grouped the application servers, database servers, and web servers. And within the NSG, if you'll see, this is the NSG we discussed in the previous slide. And if you'll see the traffic allowed, how it is visible now. See, action is allowed, allow internet to web. Rather than mentioning the IP addresses, we have mentioned the web servers. If you'll see, we have mentioned the IP addresses over. So that is replaced by the group that okay, these are the application which runs on them. So similarly from web to app, this particular web to app, we have mentioned the source as web servers and then the application server and the port, and then app to DB server, similarly application and the DB servers, because we have already grouped them. And similarly now we have denied the traffic, so from the web server to the database server. So this is how you can generally or easily group the resources according to the application which runs on them and directly mention that particular resource or that particular group. And whenever there will be a change in the future in this particular, let's say, web server, this is dynamically updated. You need not to update the rules manually. So this is how the application security group works in case of Azure. And like we discussed, this is already we have discussed, there are only two requirements which we need to follow or make sure when we are working on the application security group. The first one is all the network interfaces used in a ASG, they are must be within the same VNet. And if the ASGs used in the source and destination, then they must be within the same VNet. So these are the two things which we should pay attention to. So this is it, friends, in this lecture. In this lecture, we discussed about the challenge with NSG that okay, if we need to update the rules, or there is a change in the resource IP, we need to manually do that or remove that. And that challenge we can solve with the help of application security group by grouping them according to the application that runs on them. So, friends, now hope you have the clarity onto the application security groups, and I'm sure that okay, when you'll go through the demo, you'll have much more clarity onto this particular concept. So, thank you, friends. Thank you for watching this lecture. Meet you in the next lecture. Thank you.